Some would say it's just preseason, but Texans-Giants preseason game number 3 provided DeMeco Ryans with a lot of information and perhaps some tough decisions. The game of John Metchie, Jalen Pitre, and the running backs, and even more. Let's go inside the locker room. Highlight reaction from Texans-Giants.
Hey, locker room. Yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk. Yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time.
Preseason, sometimes you walk away not learning a thing. Sometimes you walk away with more questions than answers. Sometimes you're fortunate enough to get the answers that you have to certain questions. DeMeco Ryans had a very valuable experience when the Texans took on the Giants Saturday at NRG. This highlight reaction, by the way, brought to you by BetUS. Shout out to BetUS. And if you followed along with us yesterday, we are 4-0 now on the season. Might make a bet here as well. Deposit at BetUS courtesy of the link below, and you'll get 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Let's go ahead and start this game early on in the game. Jimmy Ward, you can see Jimmy Ward right there. He had actually just laid a hell of a hit on second down. Third down, they're talking about Jimmy Ward a little bit. They're talking about how he's a veteran. He knows DeMeco Ryans. Daniel Jones back to pass. You can see these shadows right here. And I don't know how much of a factor these were, but the Texans PR and the Texans video group had actually sent out a video of where the shadows were going to come through because of the damage from Hurricane Beryl. You can see the receivers looking back in these shadows. Jimmy Ward coming in on the play. You can kind of see him impacted a little bit. Looked like it was already incomplete. Stingley was running with him. And Jimmy Ward, they're talking about you. You make another play. Doesn't get much better than that when it comes to the TV time. This is C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud was really solid in this game. Right there, Nico Collins, 20-plus yards, run after catch. More yak last year than Tyreek Hill, by the way. Nico Collins, he got paid. He's making plays. And you can see C.J. filling it out. You can see Stover hold up Thibodeau. And then Nico Collins doing what Nico Collins did last year. This right here was a first and goal play for C.J. Stroud. Little fade to Nico, out of bounds. And I don't know how many fades they're going to be running in the regular season. This kind of seems like they wanted to work on something in an in-game situation. You're going to see another one. That's not going to be the only fade we see, but that one was to Nico. Caught the ball out of bounds. Doesn't count. CJ with the clap. 4th and goal. In a game, they're walking away with 3 here, but in a preseason, you're working on some things, and that's what the Texans decide to do here on 4th and goal. You see Diggs at the bottom down there. Just batted down at the line of scrimmage. Dexter Lawrence, he's really good at doing that. He's one of the best, despite being on a really bad team. Now we go to the Giants' second possession. One of the questions that we had heading into this game, and we had 3, and we actually got them all answered in some way, shape, or form. This was actually the 3rd question that we threw out. Are they okay at safety? Justin Simmons signs this week. A lot of the fan base upset. Are they okay at safety? Well, let's take a look at what happens here. You see Jalen Pitre near the line of scrimmage. That's where he's been most of camp. Basically an extra linebacker. Derek Barnett with the pressure. Jalen Pitre sees it. His first interception in a game in about a year and 10 months. Last time he had an interception, it was in 2022 when he intercepted Justin Fields twice. Look at that pressure by Barnett. No Danielle Hunter today. Pitre takes it in. And you feel good about Jalen Pitre being the nickel/extra linebacker at this point. DeMeco Ryans actually gets a visual of that in a game. I'm sure he much appreciates that. Now you just wonder, now you go back to Eric Murray. Do you trust Eric Murray back there covering receivers, deep balls, all of that? You might not have a choice, but at least you feel good about the change with Pitre. You can see him kind of strutting Jalen Pitre. Actually made a couple of plays in this game. He's going to have a TFL. Don't know if they're going to show that in the highlights. And then could have made a play on 3rd down, kind of got tackled from behind. Now we got a little kickoff action here. Kaimi Fairbairn, hit or miss with Fairbairn when it comes to the kickoffs. Giants take it up there. Not sure why we're putting that one in the highlights, but okay, whatever. Daniel Jones once again. You see right there, Pitre, there's the TFL. Yeah, if you got to show the kickoff, you got to show that. Pitre feeling himself. He's flexing. He's really having a really good game and justifying what DeMeco did. Daniel Jones again running, using his legs, something that he does better. Going to set up a 3rd and 1 play. By the way, Daniel Jones, 2 interceptions, 14 yards against the Texans starters. He kind of gets it going against the backups, but 2 interceptions, 14 yards. And then this one right here, here's the second interception. Derek Stingley looks kind of identical to one we saw last year. I want to say it was against Denver. Derek Stingley right there. Now they call him down at the 1. So CJ Stroud comes out starting in his own end zone. You see Stingley, the ball skills. We know he's got the ball skills of a porn star. As I've said, this was one of CJ Stroud's better throws. There was actually a better throw that didn't count, but this is a dime right here from CJ Stroud. Just watch the composure, watch the pocket, and he's going to hit Dalton Schultz right here. You see Dalton Schultz starting right there. Watch this move from Schultz right here. Whoop, boom. Find that soft spot. There it is. Dalton Schultz right up the middle, 26 yards. CJ Stroud, light work for him. He's only going to play the first quarter. Second quarter, Case Keenum took over. Actually had his best throw perhaps after that, but it didn't count. You see the shadows again. Notice that is not Derek Stingley, and that is not Kamari Lassiter. Forward on the field, and suddenly Daniel Jones feeling a little bit more comfortable throwing it right there. Danny Dimes. Then a familiar face on the next play. Dameon Pierce, by the way, 4 carries for 5 yards. Last year, we saw him get outshined by Devin Singletary. Singletary now a Giant, still outshining Dameon Pierce. Hops into the end zone. Got to feel a little bit good. A little bit of a thing. Shout out to Devin Singletary for a good 2023. Couldn't have won that playoff game without you, my friend. So the Giants tie it at 7. Case Keenum in. No more Stroud. Case Keenum, you know what he said? We got to look at and evaluate John Metchie. Case Keenum, probably a future coach. He knows DeMeco. He's looking up there saying, okay, Metchie. I'm going to Metchie the whole time here. That was what question number 2 was. We got question number 3 answered early with Pitre. This is the 3rd drive of the game. This is the most meaningful of the preseason. This is a valuable resource for Bobby Slowick and DeMeco Ryans because it answered 2 very important questions. Question 1 was, what will we see at running back? What are we going to see? Is Cam Akers really better than Dameon Pierce? Just told you 4 carries, 5 yards for Dameon Pierce. Question 2, what will Metchie do? How will he respond? What is John Metchie going to do? Well, you just saw that first catch. Plenty more where that came from because Case Keenum, you see him looking up there. We're going to get a good look at this, Coach. I got you, Cap. So later on in the drive, you look at Bobby Slowick. He's saying, how do I get even more of a look at number 8 and see if he can do anything in a game? Metchie across the middle, little point right there. Now we see this one. Look at this one. Look at this vision. Cam Akers, boom. Dameon Pierce ain't doing that. Look at that. Broken tackle, going upfield, 2 torn Achilles, no problem. Cam Akers is better than Dameon Pierce at this point in this system. There might be a why, but the what is that Cam Akers is better. Look at Metchie again on the out. Boom. Right upfield, cut upfield, looking fresh. And Case Keenum says, you know what? We're going right back to you, my friend. We're not just going to hand it off. We're going right back to you. And you look right there in the end zone, John Metchie. And it has to feel good to him. A little bit of that Karate Kid celebration that we once loved. Look at all the high fives. Look how happy everyone is for him. I'm telling you, despite the performance and the questions that people like me and others have been throwing out, I mean, the teammates, they've remained loyal to him. Derek Stingley, after the game in the locker room, he said that, not this locker room, the actual locker room, Derek Stingley, he said that, it was only a matter of time with this guy. And we know what John Metchie can do. So we got a little taste of it. So right there, 3 catches, 34 yards, touchdown on the Texans' 3rd possession, which answered a heck of a lot of questions. Giants a little bit later on, more Daniel Jones. He loves going against those backups right there. You can see that. Look at the shadows. Look at this. You're telling me this isn't going to impact a game? Heck of a grab right there. That's Chris Boyd. So that is definitely not Derek Stingley. That is definitely not Kamari Lassiter. Hell of a grab, though, by Neighbors, and we come to expect that. But that is Chris Boyd. That is not them. Daniel Jones continuing to feel himself. 30 seconds left. This one would not count. Boyd immediately knew. So the Giants have to settle for a field goal. We got a 14-10 halftime ball game. You can even see the shadows there, though. Don't sleep on these shadows in a real game. It is going to get bright and it's going to get crazy. A little more from the Texans right there. JJ Taylor, look at this. Look at 94 running, though. Look at 94 running. Okay. Taylor perhaps outperforming Dameon Pierce. We've seen him recover a fumble as well on special teams. That can add some value. So Dameon Pierce might not just be an Akers thing. It might be more than that. Mop up duty. Look at these shadows. Look at this. This is where you got to snap the rock. This is going to be, before this gets repaired, this is going to be a problem. A little bit more stuff right there. Hit the head. I don't know about you rocking DeMeco's number, though, my friend. Then we got Keenum going back across the middle. Not sure how that made the highlights, but okay. Maybe he knows someone that knows someone that knows someone. Going up here, we got a little British Brooks action. Handoff in the chest. Boom, 21-10 now for the Texans, fourth quarter. Very slow, scoreless third quarter. British Brooks scores the touchdown. Texans feeling themselves. And then I think this is a big moment. I think this matters in the long run. Now some people will say it's preseason. Let's get out of here. Let's get done. None of these guys are going to be in the pros. Let's go. British Brooks right there. We'll hear from him a little bit more a little bit later on. We're going to show them kickoffs. We got to show those kickoffs. Although this was a pretty good return, I guess. Probably not worth a highlight. Probably could have been a penalty there by Thule. No harm, no foul. Look at the shadow again right there. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild. Little stiff arm on poor Ford. But you get the strip by Lonnie Johnson. Can't see it in the shadows. Look how excited DeMeco is. Lonnie Johnson with the strip. The team's excited. Lonnie Johnson trying to make this squad as a special teamer, trying to swarm. He does his thing right there. He forces the turnover, and DeMeco Ryans gets pumped. You also had Thule there. Thule was all over him. So I'm sure he's going to get some credit in film. I don't know if they're giving attaboys. I don't know how they're going to handle that. But you got to think he's going to get some sort of credit for that. Nothing there. Giants with the stop. They're hanging on for a prayer. And then this is where I think is significant right here. So you have the Giants, Neville Hewitt right there, special teamer, strip. The refs say that the Giants maintain possession. Now, in a real game, let's just look at this. It's 21-10. There's about 7 minutes left. In a real game, if you win this challenge, then you win the ball game. And some would say it's preseason. How do you get this rep as a head coach other than a preseason game? Like in practice, DeMeco's looking at everybody. I don't think you can duplicate this rep. And this is really, really, really significant, especially in a game. So don't minimize DeMeco's challenge here that iced the game. You can say it's just preseason. You can say it doesn't matter, but you can't duplicate this rep. They're not going to do a review the call to change the game drill during practice. He might look at things a certain way, but he's got to look at everything. He's got to see how guys are hitting the gaps. He's got to see how they're executing. You can't duplicate this. And it's not just a DeMeco thing. It's a whole process. So you're basically acting out this process. Maybe I'm getting a little too excited for it. I don't think I am. I think that's a really, really, really big deal. And I think that's good to see that DeMeco Ryans, we saw him overturn a 30-plus yard reception in the Hall of Fame game, and we see this ices a game. You do this against Kansas City, Baltimore, the Colts, something like that. That's huge. Can't duplicate that. Can't practice it. There's no way to do it. A lot of things you can practice. You can't practice that. And then the Texans get the ball back right here. Game's basically over because of that challenge. But how about a little icing on the cake? How about a little FU? British Brooks, already one touchdown. Hit that gap. Look at that block right there. Look at that block right there by Johnson. We're talking about John Metchie. Look at that block right there. That's how you do it right there. That's why a lot of people like what he's done. Look at that block by 88. That's how you do it. Guys still getting excited. There you go. And that is the icing on the cake. Fans, kind of looked like a regular season crowd from a couple of years ago, but they were loud. It was a really loud crowd, and they were really, really into it. And they got even more into it here, because if you didn't think it was done, there you go. How about Solomon Byrd, 7th-round pick out of USC, been somewhat of a quiet camp, kind of a developmental guy. How about 5 forced turnovers for DeMeco Ryans and his defense, on top of the challenge, on top of getting the answers to the questions that you most wanted? You got to love it. You don't get that in preseason all the time. So some would say it's just a preseason game. I would say it is not just a preseason game. This was a big one. Shout out to Jalen Pitre. Shout out to John Metchie. Shout out to Cam Akers and the rest of the running backs named Dameon Pierce. This was a very, very valuable experience for DeMeco Ryans. And we're 3 weeks. Yes, we are 3 weeks away from Indy. And DeMeco Ryans has some decisions to be made. But the two things that DeMeco Ryans did get. He got evaluation and he got justification. He gets to evaluate the running back and wide receiver position, and he gets to justify one of his experiments, one of his top experiments of this offseason, moving Jalen Pitre closer to the line of scrimmage. You feel good about that. Now you got to look at Eric Murray, say, do you feel good about that? The other thing, and I got to give John Metchie credit here. I thought John Metchie was on the outside looking in. It's clear that they like him. But the bottom line is John Metchie responds to the challenge. Challenge accepted. You can say it's just preseason. Fair. It is. But we said we needed to see John Metchie perform in a game. What did John Metchie do? He performed in a game. He made it very, very, very interesting at that wide receiver position. Some of these players on this Texans team, whether it's Metchie, whether it's Dameon Pierce, whatever, some of these guys might not be playing ball here, but they're going to get looks elsewhere. There's a lot of depth on this squad. A lot has changed in a short time. And then you go back to the third Texans drive in the third preseason games, we had questions. We may have gotten answers. It may have created more questions, but do not minimize what was going on there. Be sure to swarm the like button like the Texans did the football against the Giants. If you piggybacked yesterday, we had the Texans -3. We also threw in a bonus bet of the Cowboys under that barely hit, which means we started out the bankroll at 2,000, and we haven't lost yet. Right now, the bankroll is at $2,465. BetUS has all the props. They got everything going on, a little football action. If that's something you're looking for, looks like we still got some preseason week 2. Am I feeling reckless? Am I feeling crazy? We got Saints 49ers tonight at 8 p.m. We got Packers Broncos. I'm not feeling too crazy about this, but hey, why the heck not? Let's just go with the over 39 in the Saints 49ers. I feel dirty for betting unders even when I win. So let's go with the over. We're up 465.79. Let's just put 220 on it to win 200. 220 to win 200. I'm hitting the over. This is a heat check. This is basically like shooting 4 feet behind the line of behind the 3-point line when you're on fire. Let's go 220 to win 200. You can do the same. This is not a strong recommendation. This is a heat check, but if you want to hop on, you can do so. The link in the description and get 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, courtesy of BetUS. So Metchie responds, questions get answered. Swarm the like button. Preseason about over 3 weeks till Indianapolis. What a hell of a time to be alive. What a fun game that was yesterday. I cannot wait till the regular season begins. Thanks to BetUS for sponsoring this segment. And always remember, when it comes to this Texans stuff, whether it's just a meaningless preseason game or whether it's a meaningful preseason game, when it comes to this stuff, we're all in it together. Be sure to subscribe, thumbs up, ride along. This has been another edition of The Locker Room. Practice tomorrow. I'll be on the scene. We'll have a live stream after practice. We'll have a live stream at night. Content rolling in. This is just the beginning.
Localize every time. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah.